Hey guys, I've realized it's been a while since I put up any new videos on YouTube, and I should probably put up some videos from time to time. Whether it's something going on out there or something here in the office, or something business related or prep related or homestead, something, you know. And been doing a little bit more on Twitter lately. And something came across it that made me make a comment, and I wanted to expand on that here with you guys. So this is really for entrepreneurs, content creators specifically, but it's good for everybody to think about and understand when it comes to the concept of value for value exchange in the world today. So there was some guy, and Vin Armani retweeted his tweet, and he made a comment about it, and I followed up with another comment. But some guy that writes for the New York Times. I don't remember his name. I don't care. He's not that important to me. If you've seen a recent video from a TED Talk, he's not in my fuck budget, okay? I just don't really have time to care about him as an individual. I did find the comment interesting, though, and I found it missing the forest for the trees, so to say. So what he said is he has a lot of friends that say he's a great writer, and they'd love to read what he writes, his column, but it's behind a paywall with the New York Times, and because of that, they can't see it, and they're not going to pay for it just to be able to read it. And he said something to the effect of being a journalist is a profession like any profession, and we expect to be paid for the work we do, just like you expect to be paid for the work that you do. Well, okay, fine. But see, that dude has a problem in the modern age. He works for the New York Times, which means he's going to write the articles that they tell him to write, under the conditions that they hold him to, at the frequency that they tell him to. And they're going to make all the money, if any, that comes from his participation because he's on their payroll, and therefore he is their product. He is their product. Got it? Okay. So the problem he has then with these friends, if they're actual friends that even said that stuff, and they may have, I don't know, I'm not going to judge the guy. Hold on. This is the benefit of working for yourself instead of the New York Times. A good beer. And that's in a Yuengling glass. You guys know I love Yuengling, but this is a Kolsch. Pretty damn good one, too. It's not actually a Yuengling. Anyway, I'd tell you the brand, but I don't remember. So, he's subject to all that, but then what does it cost to get a subscription to the New York Times? And the answer is like $104 a year. They say it's $8 every 4 weeks billed for a year that you agree to when you sign up for that. You know, people would think that's 12 billing cycles. It's not. Trust me, you can do your new math and figure it out. If you do every 4 weeks for a year, it's 13 billing cycles because there's 4.34 weeks in a month. Isn't it cool? Anyway, so now I got to pay $100 a year plus to read this guy's column. Now, if I want to read all the crap that the New York Times puts out, maybe I'll do it. But, I mean, dude, the way I would put it is, if you compared this to YouTube Red, you're not effing Cobra Kai, man. Like, no one's going to get a subscription just for you. You're not that important. They either have to want a significant portion of what the New York Times offers, or they're not going to buy it. And this is the problem that a lot of people that are still working with old world mentality in the new world have. If you're a content creator today, why are you working for someone that's an intermediary between you and your audience if you're as good as you think you are? And the answer is generally because they're not, or they don't understand the new world. And what I mean by that is if you're that great of a writer that you command that many people want to read what you have to say, then why aren't you independent and coming up with your own revenue model? In this day and age, if you're a content creator, the last thing that you should be doing is letting a third party get between you and your audience. Or if you're going to do it, then you do it for what they bring you, and you bluntly shut the fuck up about the problems that it created because you chose that road, you chose that path. If you're that great of a writer that people really want to read you, and you were charging $10 a year, you'd probably have all those people be willing to subscribe to you. But are there 3, or are there 30, or are there 300, or are there 3,000, or are there 30,000 people? How good are you at what you do? But if you're really good at content creation, you need to figure out your own monetization model at this point. You don't need somebody in between you and your audience. You know, I mean, to me, that doesn't make any sense at all, because if this guy's a great journalist, well, wouldn't it be better to be able to put out an article a day if that's what you want to, or two? Wouldn't it be better that if you decide you need, 2,500 words for this particular story, to just be able to do it, not be limited to, let's say, 850 words, because that's what they want the article to fit in? If you want to talk about something that they don't want to talk about that day, isn't it better to be able to talk about it? This is the new world we live in, where that anybody out there can communicate with the whole damn world if what they have to say is important enough, or good enough, or valuable enough, or interesting enough, or entertaining enough to matter. But I think when it comes to media, and you got people that are still working for Fox or CBS or MSNBC or the New York Times, the Washington Compost or whatever, most of those people aren't anywhere near as good as they think they are. And the reason that they are doing what they're doing at all, the reason they're working for those companies for a paycheck, is because the very fact that their name gets listed as a columnist or whatever for that publication gives them credibility that they may not have on their own. Maybe he would. I don't know. Maybe the guy could come out with his own, his own basic news blog and build it with a couple partners and make more money for himself than he ever could as an employee for the New York Times. And then he would be able to do things that are like, when people say, well, yeah, I'd like to read you, but you're behind a paywall. Well, we make 15% of our content available without paying for it. And then there's premium content. You get to make those decisions for yourself. And so I would tell anybody right now, especially young people considering a career in journalism or anything like that, to really think hard before you decide what you want to do is you want to work for somebody else in a world where you can work for yourself. And letting somebody in the middle, all that does is siphon off profit. Now, maybe you need that. There's advantages to it. Somebody paying your health insurance, whatever. But to me, the cost is too high. I get to tell you whatever, to be blunt, I get to tell you whatever the fuck that I want to tell you. And if you listen to me and you like it and you learn from it, great. And if you don't like me, you get to go listen to somebody else tell me to go screw. And nobody loses any sleep over this. You don't, I don't. And then I get to monetize my little media empire however I want to. And people that want to participate in the monetization side of it get to. And the majority of people don't. My podcast is listened to by about 200,000 people a day. I have about 10,000 paying members. So I have about 5% of my audience are paying members. But I get to decide exactly how that works, exactly how much it is. I get to make the deals. I get to cut sales. I get to do all that stuff because there's no third party. And I really recommend you guys going into podcasting, etc. Everybody wants to join a network or whatever. If somebody wants to syndicate your content, and they get something out of that, distribution or revenue share or whatever, that's fine. But never make yourself exclusive to anything that you don't have complete control over. There's no reason to do that in 2019.